just gonna taste it. Hold on before I get started. Okay. Cool. Hi, Michael Diaz De Leon. I am the chef, cook, dishwasher, creative director of Pinchi Umami. It's my brand. You've probably seen me around town, a couple of restaurants. One of them got a Michelin star. But yeah, we're here today to talk agave spirits. One of my favorite things in the world. I love to talk about it, love to drink it, love to share it. We have 3 beautiful products here: tequila, mezcal, and raicilla. Obviously, tequila, which is popularized right now in America, and you can see it in a lot of bars, restaurants, etc. We have mezcal, which is probably the newest trend in America right now, and been in the market now for about 10 to 12 years in a popular aspect. And then we have my personal favorite that a lot of people don't know about, and I think it's one of those things that you kind of have to research or know somebody that has introduced you to this, but this is called raicilla, and this is one of those products from the state of Jalisco. What is agave, right? So agave spirits come from obviously the agave plant. There's vast varieties of the said plant all over Mexico. Oaxaca, Jalisco, Michoacan. There's said plants in other states as well, but the most popular is tequila and mezcal. Mezcal being from Oaxaca and 5 other different states, and then tequila needs to come from Jalisco because of the denomination of origin. The history behind agave spirits is said that lightning struck one of these plants during, the Aztec and the Mayan rule of Mexico. The pulque, or the sap of the agave plant, comes out, it ferments, they taste it, and it's a delicious, intoxicating beverage that comes about. And then the colonization of the Spanish comes into play, where they bring in, the copper distillation processes of making certain liquors, and they apply it to the pulque. Essentially, through slaves, they introduced the copper distillation of said products. So this is how they get started. And obviously the agave plant grows, wild in different regions of Mexico. Just because that's the case, it doesn't mean that, there is not problems with being sustainable in regards to making agave or in different forms. But every plant is different, right? So there's different varieties of the agave plant, different species. Blue agave, that is made for tequila, the Jabali, or different other ones that are made for the mezcal, and then the one that's made for raicilla. Every plant takes different time to regrow. Some take 67 years, which would be like tequila. Some mezcales can take up to 14 to 15 years. You can see plants that take up to 20 to 24 years as well. These are your higher end mezcales. Colorado actually has a really great agave culture. There's a lot of really great restaurants around town that do a really good job of showcasing agave, that are bringing in people that are making agave, that are distributing agave. But we'll get started with tequila. Like I mentioned, tequila needs to come from the Blue Weber agave plant. It only grows in Jalisco. The denomination of origin for tequila happens to be in Jalisco. So that's where tequila is coming from. Different regions from like Los Altos or Tequila, Jalisco. These are some of the places where you'll see a lot of these tequila companies coming from. We're going to talk about one of my personal favorites. If you know me, I drink this tequila in vast amounts, and you've probably even given me a bottle or 2 if you see me at a pop-up or at an event. This is Cascahuin. This is a company started in 1904 by the Rosales family. Now it's run by a 3rd generation tequilero. His name is Salvador Rosales Jr. Good friend of mine. I actually had the pleasure of visiting the site, and what I love about these guys is that they're preserving the history and the tradition of making tequila in an ancestral way. So when we talk about tequila and the modernization of like tequila nowadays, there's a lot of modern machinery. These guys are sticking true to the tajona, which is the big wheel that spins around. Back in the day, it used to be, where they used to hook it up to a mule, and then the mule used to just go in circles, and then they used to do the mash. And, you get the liquid from the agave plant. And then they also fire this off in wood-fired pits. So they have these like vast like rooms where they throw in a bunch of wood, they throw in the agave plants, cook the pineapples, or the piña, it's called, the heart of the plant, and then they throw it into the tejonas. And then they're still doing a lot of copper distillation, right? So the ancestral way of doing this, I love that they're just retaining the history, the tradition, the integrity of the product. And I think that that's why they have found so much success. It's just a clean, good tequila. You can drink it neat. You can mix it for margarita or anything else. Cascahuin is a pre-Hispanic word for Hill of the Light, and it's the landmark of El Arenal in Jalisco.
That off the bottle?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I know a lot. I just don't know everything. Such a beautiful bottle. I love the presentation. I love how it tastes. Some of the notes here that you'll find is like punchy citrus, freshly cut grass, a lot of black pepper. It's very elegant for like an introductory tequila blanco or white tequila. We are filming this at 9:30 in the morning, but you know, it is Saturday, so yeah, it's just clean. It's delicious. It's easy to drink. One of my personal favorites. So that's tequila. Now we're going to talk mezcal. So when we talk about mezcal, like I mentioned, for denomination of origin, mezcal can be made mainly in Oaxaca, is where you see a lot of the mezcales, and the popular mezcales are coming from Oaxaca. There's 5 other states where you can actually make mezcal. This is Espina Negra, artesanal mezcal. This one in particular is coming from Oaxaca itself, and it's a variety called Jabali. Jabali is the plant, translates to wild boar. This particular plant, in general, the Jabali, takes 14 to 16 years to grow. A lot of the times when I pick tequilas or mezcales for my personal consumption, or I'm showcasing them at the restaurant, I like to work with small producers that are stewards of the land, that are taking care of the plants, that are taking care of the planet, and taking care of their people. And one of the reasons why I love this one in particular is because they're also honoring the tradition of making mezcal. So this is also made in tajona, which is the milling process, the wheel. And then they are distilling in copper, and they're firing this off with wood. I find notes of grass, a lot of herbaceousness. The common misconception with us Americans is that mezcal needs to be smoky. That's not necessarily true. You can find a lot of mezcales that are really smooth, that tend to lean towards more herbal notes, a little bit of citrus. And that's what I'm tasting with this mezcal in general. This mezcal, I think, would be really great to make a paloma, some fresh grapefruit juice, a little bit of lime, some salt, ice, call it a day. Espina Negra, Jabali. I think you can get this here in Colorado. I've drank this in Mexico City a lot. It's a good one. This one's really fun. So I personally discovered Raicilla, I want to say like 6 years ago. And I had the pleasure of actually working with this gentleman. His name is Chef Esteban. He's a chef that then started to really hone in on Raicilla. Raicilla is neither mezcal nor tequila. And the reason I say that is because Raicilla grows in the state of Jalisco, but it is made more towards the way that they make mezcal, and the flavor profile tends to lean more mezcal-ish. Denomination of origin, they just decided to call it its own category, which is Raicilla. It's also known as the Mexican moonshine because it was one of those things that people were distilling without having the denomination of origin. So people were just making it kind of like clandestine. So it's been very popular now within the last 10 years in Mexico, at least. You don't find a lot of it here in the States. This one in particular, the agave plant is called cenizo, and it grows in the hills of Jalisco, and it sits on the coast. So what you get in this agave is a lot of sea salt, minerality, because as the rain comes, it's watering the agave plant. So it's giving it that really beautiful minerality, this really beautiful texture. But what I find with this one in particular is it's being fired off in rock and wood. So you'll also find those like notes in there. And for me, Raicilla, this one in particular, almost gives me like cheesy, yeasty vibes. I find Raicilla super interesting, and I find it to be really fun because, like I mentioned, I think it has like notes of like cream cheese almost, like yeastiness. It's like super funky, fresh cut grass as well. And it's just like really super, super unique in flavor. I would recommend that you drink this neat or over an ice cube to really find the expression of the agave itself. But yeah, really fun Raicillas in the market now. I think La Venenosa does a really incredible job, and they're doing really, really good stuff. There's another brand that I personally like to drink when I'm in Mexico. It's called Mesonte. And Mesonte, I think, is making some of the best Raicilla out there. I'm really excited to see Raicilla more in the Colorado food scene. So if you're out there and you're looking for something fun and new to experiment with, I suggest that you go find some Raicilla and explore it that way. I mean, I can sit here and talk about agave spirits for days. You know, there's pechugas, which are mezcales or agave spirits that are, you know, distilled with like the heart of like the deer or the breast of pig. If you enjoy agave spirits as much as I do, there's a lot of great resources in town, a lot of great restaurants showcasing some really beautiful agave spirits. But yeah, next time you're out there eating at a restaurant or at a bar and you know, you happen to find one of these beautiful agave spirits, make sure you order them. Support your local restaurants. What is that? It's like expanding because they've never been used.
Oh, okay.
So what's happening is that the liquid is going into the gourd, so it's making that click sound. Yeah, and then today we're drinking out of jicaras. Jicaras are traditionally made in Oaxaca. These little ceremonial cups are made from gourds, and they're fired off. They're meant to share experiences, such as drinking some agave. So, cheers. God, that's so good.